I'm Jan Works. The date today is August 31st, 2014. I was thinking about my birthday, which was 70 years ago today. I am at the Midwest Skydiving Museum, Midwest Skydiving Reunion. And my stories, at least the couple that I'm going to tell here, are related to the Midwest, so that's what we're about. I started jumping in the Midwest, although I'm not sure that the people at Xenia, that's Greene County, Xenia, Ohio, would consider themselves part of the Midwest, but I did, because then we moved to Chicago area. I jumped at Greene County, as I said, made my first jump in May of sometime of 1970. And Pat was jumping, and I had always known I wanted to try it. When I was about 8 or 10 years old, I told my father, who worked for the National Park Service, that I wanted to be a smoke jumper because I thought that was just so wonderful that people jumped out of airplanes and could go down and fight fires that way. And he said, no, they don't let girls do that. So I was absolutely delighted when I discovered, oh, there is a way I can do this. Of course, girls are jumping, sky jumpers. I mean, I've known smoke jumpers now who were female, but that was then, and this is now. Anyway, I went to Greene County, and I actually had to make 7 static line jumps because I was so little, I'm just 5 foot and shrinking, that all of the 4-pin military surplus rigs that they had for their students went, below my butt. So I'd get out on the step and I'd push as hard as I could, but as soon as I let go, the wind would just knock me over and the weight of the pack would just put me on my back. So somewhere on about the 7th jump, Pat Works, my husband, who is known as a space cadet, actually they told him to go get a rig and put it on me, and he put a T10 on me. I didn't come down forever, and when I did, it was at the top of a 40-foot tree in the very dense forest, way off the drop zone. And I got out of the rig and left, because they never told me what to do in a tree jump. So I climbed out of my rig, and it's up there on the canopy, and I climbed down I knew how to climb down a tree, and I climbed down to the lowest branch I could get to, which was still about 40 feet off the ground. And his name was Joe, and I'm sorry I don't remember his last name, but he was a lineman for the power company, and they found me. Of course, they found the canopy with the airplane, and he climbed the tree with his spikes, and I sat on his shoulders. We came down that way, and everybody was much more upset than I was. I just thought, well, that was something I don't want to repeat. I've actually made 2 more static line jumps for a total of 9, but I was able finally to figure out how to bend my knees and jump to get the push off, and had 2 good static line jumps. So when Jim West was the operator of Xenia. In fact, he started that whole chain of Greene County drop zones. Wonderful man. He and Dave Ellis, and I think it was Bobby Hyatt, they decided that, okay, this chick looks serious, she's going to keep going, we better do something about the fact that she doesn't have a rig we don't have a rig that's going to fit her. So they spent, I think, a weekend where the weather was bad, and took a 4-pin container and cut it down to the 3-pin container, which, we all know that could be done. They'd just never done it because they didn't need to. And then you have to add the panels on each side, and so that I could wear that. It was, they called it the little person's rig. And Jim West decided to do a buddy jump with me. Now, that's just the same thing that Bob Sinclair did with Johnny Carson. I'd probably been about 5 years earlier, and we did 2 of those. He got out with me. I think the first one we went from 5,200 feet, and I was stable all the way, had no problem, got the feeling of free fall, piece of cake. He told me when it was time to pull, and I backed away and pulled, no problem. The second the second jump after that was also another buddy jump with Jim West, and this time I was supposed to tell him when it was time to pull, no problem, and there we were off. Shortly after that, we moved to Chicago area and first jumped at the Golden Puppets Club in Lansing, Illinois, south of Chicago, and eventually made our way to Hinckley, where they were doing relative work, and Pat wanted to do relative work, and I was just trying to figure out what I was doing. I actually tie-dyed. Nobody told me that I probably shouldn't tie-dye a 1-1 canopy, and of course it blew up on my 25th jump, and the Golden Puppets had put a reserve on me with a pilot chute in it, and I had been taught to, without a rig or reserve, without a pilot chute, and I was taught to throw it out, so I just threw it out. Of course it didn't work all that well with the pilot chute. I had two, everybody freaked out, but no harm, no foul. Anyway, and we stayed in Hinckley, and eventually the big boys started letting me jump with them. The James gang was practicing, and then the Godfrogs were practicing, and Dick Taruso was the team captain, and he would say, "Okay, Jan, you can follow us out, but don't touch our star," because they were practicing, and I was just a puppy. But eventually we went to Florida, and that's where I got to touch the star and get my SCR and eventually my SCS. And after that we moved to California, and it's been 40 years out there, and I jumped at Elsinore and then Paris, and I'm not jumping now. That's about it.